Alright, hey everybody. I am going to do a master sketch of this Emil Carlsen painting that I absolutely love. And I'm going to start just a little bit of mineral spirits. So I'll put that over here. So you can obviously draw many different ways, but I'm going to just start with a little burn umber. Little mineral spirits. Get good at drawing, and then you can free yourself because you'll always be able to correct. So I'm going to just go for big shapes at the beginning. Just draw. There's that tree. Just going to try to get it. It's actually a bit central. So fascinating. Wonderful time to kind of take and study things. You realize there's just a lot of information out there, rules and all that crap that you don't particularly have to follow. You can really not be held to them. Instead, you can use them and then find time in your studio to play with them. And what I like to do is just take and beat it up, play with the idea, see what I think of it, rather than just be told something. Like go find examples that contradict it. That's the beauty of everything. All right, this is not going to fit perfectly, but all right. And then the sky up here. Push this maybe down a touch. Now, what just blows me away by this is just the mood. Carlsen's known for his still life paintings, yet his tonal landscapes feel almost dreamy. And I want to just kind of take this for a spin and just study it. So, master sketch, always a great place to kind of abstractly get the data and doesn't have to be perfect. Release yourself from thinking that everything has to be perfect. It's not what art is. Alright, I'm going to go into Prussian, and then I'm going to take a bit of titanium white, and this is Prussian blue here. This actually was black. And I feel like there's going to be a bit of green in here as well. So I think it's something in the whole thing feels like it's just an oscillation between blue-green. Green, blue, green, like the whole thing. I'm going to just add it in there just to start with something. Mass it in. If you're not quite sure, you can add a tiny bit of mineral spirits. Loosen that paint up. All right. Now let's get some green. I wonder if it's deep green. Yeah. Feels about right. This is at the Griswold Museum. Wonderful museum. Take a little bit of the green, pull it in. I think it could be it. Yeah, such a beautiful, almost feels like monochromatic. Very, very low chroma, moody painting. There's like so much, even just blue in here. He'd be a great one to kind of pick the brain of the person to find out, why he did this and how he thought about when he did it. How much was from life? How much was from memory? I bet you a lot of it was done from memory. And then the white, the light part is really not even light. Now to come into this and just not know anything, I think is wonderful. You can just pull data, study it. I bet you even the way he did this and built it, is different from the way that I'm doing it. He probably would watch what I'm doing and go like, that's wrong. It's not the way that I think about it, which is fascinating because it kind of shows that there's not really one way to do things, and we're making interpretations of things or thinking that we're working in the manner of people, but I bet you if they were here, like if somebody were to like read my notes or something like that of how I think about art, and then I'd be like, probably to a degree there's some correctness to it and overlap. I don't think two people think of things exactly the same. It's kind of food for thought, It actually, should be a beautiful thing to think about because it allows for the mind to say that we have an individual thing then that we're bringing to it. Think of the hierarchy. This feels lighter, just a touch. Bringing a touch of that, and again the green. Seeing this in person too, there's a lot of blue in there, and doing a little sketch like this, kind of averaging it down, the data, so you're not overwhelmed. This is a pursuit of the picture and not of the individual little things that make a Carlsen. And I think that both pursuits are wonderful. These are very low stakes ways of kind of thinking of study. How light did he go? And it feels like it gets more chromatic towards the top of the sky. There. And maybe in your imperfection, not being able to kind of nail it, maybe you find something, There's a study of our own work after, which doesn't have to just be mimetic. It's you're taking and you're extracting data, and in your imperfection, whatever you arrive at still could be of use. If you lose focus of this idea that it has to be a copy, and instead just studying the data as you're putting it together, I think you'll be in a better place if you can study it as just, its own thing, in my opinion. Some people probably would disagree, and they're more than welcome to. But it's not so much just a copy. I don't know. AI can do that. AI can just take and printers can do that. Give us exactly what we see, interpret the data over, but they can't do what humans can do, which is the imperfection, which should be, in my opinion, embraced. So we'll break that up a little bit. Maybe that somewhere in there is the feeling that he has. And again, it has a beautiful blue-green to it. So just going to go back in, maybe touch more Viridian. A little blue, maybe a little ultra. Maybe there is a bit of deep blues in there. I think there is. Nice blue-green is Viridian. And, you can even just play it as, when studying this, just this darker. Just to get that same spirit. More green. Again, it's picking up part of the underpainting. And my underpainting was probably different from his. I'd have to get there in front of it and study it. Which again, I highly recommend everyone do. But maybe there's something in the interpretation that you've learned, That's where if you're open to the information, you can always learn how to keep learning, even from your own extraction. I think that's a wonderful thing. Darker. And it gets lighter as it goes to the left, right. And if you want to loosen up, do a ton of these loosely, very loosely. Don't go for detail. Find type A people are very detail oriented. I don't know why. I don't know. Art just seems anti that. It just seems like a degree in architecture or something like that, or engineering. But we're here to, I mean, in many ways, break the rules. No particular rules for artists. Creative thinking. That's kind of the essence of the picture right there. Very, very low, like the whole thing. The color, very, very minimal. I used almost no color, I mean, a lot of color, variations of color, but not a ton of it. That's the takeaway. Whoa, that's interesting. So to get a tonalist painting, you can just do it in a very, very low key. This whole painting is in low key, meaning it's very, very dark as a whole. There's a contrast in here with the warmth picking up that was not intentional, that I think works actually quite nicely. And it's serendipitous because that doesn't mean that's what Carlsen would have done, and therefore it becomes its own extraction and your own, in a sense. I'm not saying to go claim this as your own, just saying that there's amount of study that can be done from what you did and brought to it that's different from Carlsen. So I think that's a good place to stop. Just make one more mark just in here. Master sketches, the way to go. All right, maybe one more mark. It's going to get a little bit more passage of light just right in there. I think from seeing this in person, he was using also cobalt or ultra. I'd have to sit before to make a copy of it.